You know, there's a phrase I hear all the time when I talk to seniors in my practice. Doctor, I'd love to build muscle again, but everything's become too expensive. Powders, shakes, special meats, I can't afford it. And every time I smile, not to make fun of them, but because I know something they don't yet. You can rebuild muscle after 60 without spending more than a few dollars a week, and often, those who spend less even become stronger than those who rely on miracle products. What no one has told you is that the real danger isn't age. It's the rate at which your body loses muscle if you do nothing. Every year after 50, you naturally lose 1 to 2% of your muscle mass. It might seem insignificant, but do the math. Over 20 or 30 years, you can lose up to a third of your strength, and that's when life starts to get dangerous. And stick with me, because the number one option costs less than 50 cents per serving, while providing protein that's better utilized by your body than some powders that cost 20 times as much. But before we dive in, let me share something I observe every day. When I explain this to my patients, many of them are wide-eyed. How can I build muscle with such simple foods? The answer is always the same. Strength isn't about sophistication, it's about consistency, amino acid quality, and digestibility. And several serious studies prove it. Studies conducted in Canada, the United States, and Europe on hundreds of adults between 60 and 80 years old show that a regular protein intake from simple foods improves grip strength, walking speed, and muscle mass, sometimes in as little as 12 weeks. So here's what I'm proposing today. We're going to break down these foods together, from good to essential. You'll understand why they work, what science says, how much they actually cost, and how to eat them to maximize muscle growth. And most importantly, I'm going to help you avoid the mistakes that ruin all your efforts without you even realizing it. Next up, we'll dive straight into the first food on the list, the one many people hate, but that science loves for protecting your muscles as you age. We'll start with a food that divides opinions. You either love it or you run away from it just by looking at the packaging. And yet, it's one of the most powerful muscle protectors for those over 60, sardines. Oui, ces petits poissons sans prétention. Et pourtant, pour $1,25, vous avez entre vos mains un aliment que des études dans le journal américain de nutrition clinique ont lié à une meilleure force de préhension et à des vitesses de marche plus rapides chez les personnes âgées qui les consommaient régulièrement. Why? Because sardines don't just provide 23 grammes de protéines complètes. Ils offrent aussi quelque chose encore plus rare. Anti-inflammatory oméga 3 acides gras en quantité suffisante pour vraiment protéger vos fibres musculaires. Avec l'âge, vos muscles deviennent plus vulnérables à l'inflammation silencieuse. You don't feel it, but it gradually erodes your muscle mass. Studies show that 2 servings of small, oily fish per week are enough to slow this muscle loss, sometimes dramatically. And what I love about sardines is their simplicity. You don't need to cook. You open them, you eat. You can mash them on toast, mix them into cold pasta, add them to scrambled eggs, and you have a complete, nourishing, and economical meal. And if there's one thing we too often forget, the small, soft, edible bones. They're packed with calcium. You nourish your muscles and bones in one go. But if you really don't like the taste, then you'll love what comes next. Now, let's move on to a much milder, much more familiar food. A food long neglected, almost forgotten, and yet a true blessing for the slow and steady muscle building that seniors need. You probably know this food. It used to linger in our parents' fridges, and now it's making a strong comeback because science is restoring its true value: cottage cheese. And let me tell you something, if you're over 60, your body loves this food. Why? Because its secret isn't just its 24 grams of protein per cup, it's primarily the type of protein it contains. Casein. Imagine a protein that digests slowly, very slowly. For several hours, it releases a continuous stream of amino acids, and for aging muscles, that's a treasure. After a certain age, your muscles become less responsive to rapid protein spikes. C. This is what's called anabolic resistance. Your body doesn't use protein as efficiently when ingested all at once. Casein fait l'exact contraire d'un pic. Il vous donne une infusion régulière, constante et stable d'acides aminés. This literally allows your muscles to rebuild while you sleep. A study from McMaster University in Canada demonstrated this. Older adults who consumed casein before bed developed significantly more muscle mass, even without intense exercise, simply thanks to this sustained release. And what surprises my patients the most is the price. A tub of cottage cheese costs about $2.50 for 100 grams of protein. That's about 3 cents per gram. It's one of the best value options in the entire supermarket. And again, there's no need to be afraid of fat chews, full-fat cottage cheese, not the 0% kind. Why? Because the fats facilitate vitamin D absorption, improve satiety, and further slow digestion to maximize muscle repair. You can eat it savory with herbs and vegetables, sweet with berries, mixed into pancake batter to boost protein, or even as a substitute for ricotta in lasagna. Now, let's take it up a notch. We're going to move on to a food that many underestimate because it's not exactly glamorous. And yet, it nourishes your muscles, your energy, and your immune system in a completely unique way. Next up, we come to one of the hidden champions. A food that combines protein, sustained energy, protective fiber, and a key amino acid to kickstart muscle building. Now we come to a food that many see as a mere side dish, when in reality, it's a true powerhouse, especially after 60. Lentils. They don't have the prestige of meat. They don't make a splash in the fitness industry. But in fact, they provide something that few foods can offer aging muscles. A perfect blend of protein, fiber, minerals, and sustained energy. A cup of cooked lentils contains 18 grams of protein, and yet that's not the most impressive thing. Their real power comes from two things. 1. They are rich in leucine. Leucine is the switch, the on button that activates muscle building. Without it, it's impossible to optimize protein synthesis in seniors. And lentils contain a surprisingly high amount for a plant-based food do. They correct a critical deficiency in people over 60, iron deficiency. You'd be surprised how many seniors live with a silent iron deficiency, not enough to be anemic, but enough to feel weak, sluggish, and short of breath, even before the problem shows up in blood tests. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition followed older adults who regularly consumed legumes, lentils, chickpeas, and beans. The result, they maintained better muscle mass, a faster walking speed, and greater independence. Researchers believe that the fiber, anti-inflammatory polyphenols, and iron create an ideal environment for muscle regeneration. And let's talk price. A pound of lentils costs about $1.50 and provides 8 high-quality servings. That's less than 20 cents per serving. It's one of the best health investments you can make. Another incredible advantage, lentils don't need soaking. They cook in 20 to 30 minutes and they adapt to all tastes. Red lentils become creamy, perfect if you have trouble chewing. Brown or green lentils stay firm, ideal in a salad or as a complete meal. Add a little turmeric, ginger, or garlic, and you further enhance their anti-inflammatory effect. And if lentils already impress you, just wait. You're going to love what's coming next, because we're moving on to an even simpler, even more straightforward, even more practical food. A food you can store for months, open in seconds, and that provides you with highly absorbable protein, even if your digestion isn't as efficient as it used to be. In a moment, we'll come to a timeless classic, the one that has allowed thousands of seniors to regain muscle without spending more than $1. Now we move on to a food everyone knows, but very few use to its full potential: canned tuna. Yes, a simple $1 can, and yet it contains something your muscles love: 22 grams of complete protein with very high bioavailability, which means your body absorbs and uses it extremely well, even if your digestive system isn't as efficient as it was at 30, we're cert. While many foods provide protein that your body partially wastes, tuna is absorbed at over 90%. A team from the University of Arkansas confirmed this by studying adults over 70. Fish proteins, particularly tuna, are among the most easily used by aging muscles. And when you compare prices, it's almost shocking. A can of tuna costs 5 cents per gram of protein. In comparison, senior-friendly protein powders sometimes cost 15 to 20 cents per gram. You're literally paying 3 to 4 times more for something that works less effectively. What makes tuna even more valuable is its convenience. It doesn't spoil quickly. It requires no preparation. It can be eaten anywhere. You can add it to a salad, mix it with a little Greek yogurt, make patties with an egg, or simply serve it with vegetables. And if you're worried about mercury, it's important to talk about it. Current recommendations are very clear. Adults can consume up to 12 ounces of light tuna per week while remaining completely within a safe range, and if you alternate with other canned fish, sardines, salmon, you further reduce this risk. Remember one key point. Tuna is particularly beneficial if you want to increase your lean muscle mass without adding unnecessary calories because it's low in fat, low in carbohydrates, and very high in protein. But if you want an even more complete food, a food that combines protein, vitamins, minerals, beneficial fats, and near-perfect digestibility, then you'll love what comes next. We're going to talk about a superfood that's been in your fridge for decades, but that you might not realize could double your muscle response after just one meal. Next, we'll move on to a classic, an essential, an underrated nutritional giant, a small, round, inexpensive food that has transformed the muscular lives of thousands of seniors. Now we come to a humble, simple food, almost too commonplace to be taken seriously. And yet, it's one of the most powerful muscle boosters for seniors. Eggs. Eggs are one of the few foods I call complete by nature, because they contain everything your body needs to build strong, stable muscle, capable of supporting your balance, walking, and energy. Want a statistic that will surprise you? For 20 cents, a single egg provides 6 grams of perfectly usable protein, one of the best protein qualities ever measured in the human diet. And that's not all. Moitié de cette protéine est dans le jaune, as are vitamin D, choline, leucine, and the fats needed to improve absorption. A study from the University of Illinois demonstrated something huge. Eating whole eggs after exercise increased muscle response by 40% compared to eating egg whites alone. This means that the nutrients in the yolk amplify the effect of the white. No powder, no protein bar can replicate this natural synergy. And let's talk about another myth: cholesterol. Recent studies show that for the vast majority of people, the cholesterol in eggs doesn't have the negative impact it was once thought to have. What matters is your overall diet. And in a balanced diet, eggs are an asset, not a liability. You can eat them scrambled, poached, boiled, in an omelet, in a salad. They're quick, versatile, easy to digest, and offer unbeatable value. But they're not number one yet, because the food that's coming next, the one that's taking first place, costs almost nothing, keeps for months, nourishes your muscles and your gut microbiome, and has been shown in several studies to improve functional strength in seniors over several years. This food is the ultimate value champion, the one that could literally help you build muscle even on a tight budget. And here it is. Dried beans. Dried beans, black, red, white, chickpeas, it doesn't matter, are probably the most underrated food for building muscle after 60. One cooked cup provides 15 grams of protein, but that's just the beginning of their benefits. Beans also offer you fiber that nourishes your gut microbiota, potassium for muscle contraction, magnesium for recovery, iron for energy, anti-inflammatory polyphenols that protect your muscle fibers. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition followed seniors for 5 years. Those who regularly consumed beans had plus muscle mass, better mobility, fewer falls, and greater independence. For $1,20 un sac, vous obtenez l'équivalent de 12 portions. C'est moins d'1 centime par portion. Aucun autre aliment riche en protéines ne vous offre autant pour si peu. And contrary to popular belief, you don't need to be a chef to prepare beans. You can cook a large batch once a week and then freeze individual portions. You can add them to soup, salad, stew, or chili. Their mild flavor makes them a versatile addition to almost any dish. And here's what I'd like you to remember today. You don't need to spend more, you need to choose better. The strongest seniors aren't the ones who buy the most expensive products. They're the ones who are consistent, regular, smart in their choices. You too can start this week. Choose 2 or 3 of these foods. Incorporate them into your meals. Observe your energy, your strength, your stability. You'll be surprised at how quickly your body can still get stronger, even after 70 ou 80. And if this video can help someone you love stay strong without breaking the bank, then share it. And of course, if you want more scientifically proven tips for active, healthy, and independent aging, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave me a comment. I read every single one, and it helps me create videos that are truly useful to you.